In this video, I'm going to show you how the spreadsheet works. Basically, it uses Investec's API. It pulls in and it shows you all the information that you can get from the Investec API. Your bearer token, your account information like account numbers, your account balances, and your transactions for the last 180 days into a Google Sheet. Nice and simple. I've got the template here as well, so you can use it. You just need to log into Investec Online, go to Programmable Banking, get your client ID and secret, make a copy of the sheet, put it into the sheet, and you'll get all of your transaction data and balances in a spreadsheet. And you can, from there, do things. The reason I wanted to do this today was to actually filter through my transactions and all of that. It will be real time, so it'll actually be live. It'll pull in new information from your bank account as it goes. That means you can access this information. You don't have to log into your banking every time. So quick run through of what the final result's going to be like. I'm just going to black out these two fields, and then I'm going to add in the client ID and the secret, which you can get from Investec Online. Okay, so I've just pasted those in, and you'll see it's populating. It's pulling all the information from the Investec API. Those are my account numbers. Those are the account IDs that I'll be using to get the bank balances. So you use the account ID here. It uses these formulas, which I'll talk through in the long video. You can see your balances, and you can see all of your transactions for each of your accounts. Hi, hello everyone. Today I'm going to be bringing my Investec accounts into a Google Sheet using the Open API. I'm going to do that to figure out if I've been paying too many times for something which I pay on a monthly basis. I do it manually, and I got some information this morning that made me think, oh, I might have made duplicate payments. So I'm going to pull all my data, transactions from my bank account into a Google Sheet, and then I'm going to filter out to see if I've made duplicate payments on this thing. So things I'm going to do is get access to the API using my username and password, or client ID and secret. Get my bearer token, which is a token that is generated and then expires within a certain amount of seconds. And then using that bearer token, I can access the rest of the API, rest of my data, so accounts, numbers, account balances, and account transactions. So first things first, start a new sheet. If you're using Google Sheets, which I am, you can do sheets.new. It's a quick way to start a new Google Sheet. Just to scaffold everything out and explain again, client ID will be the first thing I need, secret second thing. It's also known as username and password. Access token from the API, which will be pulled using basic auth, and then accounts data. And then when I've got my accounts data, I'll get my account IDs, and then I can get my balance 1 and balance 2, and then I will be able to get my transactions 1 and transactions 2. So that will be for my transactional account and my savings account at Investec, and this can be called admin. Just so that I can do this while showing you, I'm going to blank this out so that when I copy my ID and secret, you won't see it. Never share your ID and secret with anyone. All right, so I've got a scaffold here of all the things I want to get. The first thing I need to get is my ID and secret. So I go to investec.com and log in to that account. And yeah, you guys are going to see my money right now, which is fine. Fine for me. It's all in Rand. So before you start thinking anything, just remember it's rands. And here's my bank accounts. I can go to start programming your accounts now and go to Open API. I'm gonna show these information, but off screen, so that when I copy it into the Google Sheet, I don't have to cut it out of the video later. So I'm just going to paste it into that cell and that cell there, also off screen. So the first one is client ID. Dropping that into the first sheet cell, and then client secret, dropping that into the B2 cell. Okay, those things are there, and I didn't have to edit that out of the video now. Cool. We've got our clients and ID and secret in the sheet. So now I want to get the access token. So I'm going to go to Programmable Banking again. Documentation. You can find that at developer.investec.com/programmable banking. Nice and simple. Authorization. We want to get this token. One thing that took me quite a while to figure out is that we need to pass this parameter to data, client, credentials, and scope accounts. Now this is an API request and the response is in JSON, and we're dealing with Google Sheets. So there's an awesome little tool called import JSON, written by Brad Jasper. He doesn't actually have a way to deal with bearer auth, so I've made my own one on my own profile, which you can go grab. It's publicly available, and this is essentially a Google script, and it enables you to import JSON to Google spreadsheets, which is really cool and useful for us because we want JSON and we want to get it in spreadsheets. The function we're going to use is import JSON via post to get the bearer token. If you check it out here, this is a post type request, and we will feed it our username and password, and we'll get back a bearer token. And then we'll use that bearer token to get accounts data, balance data, and transactions data. All right, so let's go to the raw file here. We want to bring that over into Google Apps script so that we can access those functions inside our spreadsheet. Could just drop that whole file here and save. Let's call it Investec Bank Accounts. Cool. And that's saved. So now we should be able to access import JSON from Sheet, import JSON via post, import JSON advanced, import JSON basic auth, import JSON bearer auth inside of our Google Sheet as a nice normal function. Okay, let's get the format for post via post. So there's a bunch of stuff here. We've got URL, payload, fetch options, query, pass options, username, password. Username and password is your client ID and your secret that we just got earlier. So we're going to want this function, but we're going to use it inside of our Google Sheet. We're going to overwrite this little data piece here. Import data, import JSON via post. Let's start off by getting the URL from Programmable Banking. Let's get that token URL. Drop it into there. Now, there are a bunch of other things here. You can read about that in the documentation, but we're first going to want to add in payload this piece here, which says grant type equals client credentials and scope equals accounts. So we're going to go back to our sheet, and payload is going to be grant type blah, 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 blah. And for the rest of it, I'm not going to do anything fancy. You can play around with the query so that you get specific data back, but I'm just going to show you all the data that you get back, and I'm not going to keep it clean for now. And your username is going to be your client ID, and your password is going to be your secret. And let's pray that this works. Awesome, access token. Also, what I've managed to do is override my scaffold and put it in the account information. So let's go put it there, and we put this, it's supposed to be accounts. Oh, but when we put it there, we get an error because we've changed these references. So let's put the references back, client ID, client secret. Okay, great. We've got our token coming in up here. That's our actual token. So we'll use that to get our account information. Part 2 of using import JSON will be using bearer auth to request account information. So we go to the import bearer JSON bearer auth function, and we're going to drop that in there in our spreadsheet. JSON bearer auth. So we're going to need a URL for auth token. Oh, sorry, no. Cancel that. Yes. redo that. All right, we're going to need a URL to get our accounts. So that URL is going to be on Programmable Banking, and we're going to get accounts somewhere over here. There we go. We've got accounts URL over there. We're going to pop it into that field. Our bearer token we've fetched over here. And I think for this one, that's all we're going to need. So we can actually just cut out these things. If you put stuff in there, then it sends you only one of, so like you could put stuff in here above and you would only get your access token. But this is just the full query back that you're getting back. So this is what happens if you ask for everything. It should show you your accounts. These are my accounts. I've got a private bank account and a Prime Saver account. The reason I'm doing this is I can't use my account number with the API. I need to use my, oh, it doesn't show that. So I need to use my account ID, which is only available through the API. So that's my account ID for my private bank account. That's my account ID for my Prime Saver account. So balance 1 would be private bank, and balance 2 would be Prime Saver. All right, so now let's get the balances. To get the balances, we're going to use accounts again, but we're going to use /balance. We're going to use this one. So again, we're going to go, we can just steal this thing, import JSON via bearer auth. But we're going to use this URL. You'll notice in the URL as well, the URL, there's an account ID required. So we're going to just point to the account ID for my private bank account. Oopsie, there we go. Close off that, and then we're going to need to point to the access token as well to give us permission to do that. All right, so that's balance 1. Okay, that's all the information that comes back. Let's just cut that. And then we want to do balance 2, which is easier said than done. Let's just do that. This should give us our balance 2. All right, so this is all the information coming back from the balance query. That is my credit available, and that's my actual current balance. So you can see I've got a credit card facility there. That's my balance, but that's my account balance for account 1. So I need to change this to be account 2, which is over here. All right, so there's my balance for account, my savings account. Probably should put more in there, and my transactional account. And finally, we're going to pull transactions into the spreadsheet. So we're going to need this again. This time we're going to be getting transactions. So we're going to get this long dude over here. The reason it's so long is it takes a from and to date and a transaction type. So you can actually skip all that and just go for the default. It says default is 180 days worth of transactions, and transaction type, if you don't add transaction type, it'll just give you all transactions. So we want to put this into transactions 1 for the first account. That is the transactional account. But we need this bearer auth query. Yeah. So again, we're going to go bearer auth. Bearer auth, just put some stuff in there for now. Oh dear. We're going to pull this URL in there. And we're going to point to that account ID. So that is the account ID for account 1. And then the other thing we're going to need, is the auth access token, which is over there. That should hopefully give us our transactions. Yeah, and there we go. There's all of our transactions. You would just do the same for your savings account if you wanted to see your savings transactions. I can now filter this, and the one I wanted to check is actually a payment I make to a service called DAI. Diane service, it's a person. And I can see here, okay, I paid in the start of January, March, April, May, June, July. I paid at the end of June, May, and I paid at the start of May. Okay, cool. So I've been paying monthly. That's all good. I didn't make double payments there, it seems. And there we go. Now I've actually got my live transactions coming in from my transactional account into a spreadsheet. I've got my balances over here. I can start building on top of all of this whatever I want. One thing I did was I made a spreadsheet with all of my investments and I put it all into one spreadsheet. And obviously some things don't have APIs, so you have to go manually pull balances, which is like very tedious, almost not worth tracking your net worth. But what I was able to do was just pull my Investec balances into that sheet. So there was one less thing I had to go log into to get a balance for whenever I wanted to update all of my investments and see how good or bad things are going. That's how you make a programmable banking spreadsheet, or at least pull your bank data into a spreadsheet from Investec in real time. This is all set up. And yeah, I'll put all the links and all the information, and I'll try to type out the steps in a description somewhere and share that with you. Have a great day and enjoy programming your banking.